last session, we have started with this topic of, management studio. One second, I'll show you that picture. I said it's kind of history of, management studio. This was the last class topic we have discussed. How SQL Server Management Studio has come into usage. This was the topic I discussed last class. Okay, now we are going to learn how you make a connection with the database. That architecture I'll show you. Yeah, here, second architecture. That is about how do you make a connection to server using a tool called SSMS. This window I'm trying to come up with. Connection to server. And in this connection to server, first point you can see server type. And it is something related with called database engine. Here, server type is database engine. What other server types you have? You have integration services, you got reporting services, you got analysis services, you got multiple server types. But as a database developer, we use only database engine. As a database developer, we use only DB engine. No other server is allowed. Only database engine. Right? That is server type. Can you see here? Server type, database engine. Right? And then something important is about server name. You have 4 services here: analysis, reporting, integration. But the other services we don't need, because this will be a requirement of those people who work with BI, business intelligence tools. People who work with BI, they will have importance of that server type. We don't need that. No, not at all. Okay. And something important again for us is server name. Server name. Obviously, since this is local server, I have installed SQL Server in a laptop, in a single machine. So obviously, I'll be working with what now? Local server. I'm not connected with network environment. But you have a provision of both in this. Just click on this. Browse for more. You have local server, network server. What is that we are connected with? Obviously, local servers. Yes, local servers. And you find 3 names in my machine, 3 names. So it means only the system name that you find is on my name, Ahmed. That is default instance. This is first named instance. This is second named instance. So it's almost like I got 3 times SQL Server installed in my machine. So I'm working with what now? If only Ahmed is available, you have to understand that you are working with local server and you're working with default instance. Two things, please understand. You're working with local server, plus you're working with default instance. Local server plus default instance. If you find like this, server 1, then you have to understand you're working with local server, but you're working with named instance. Local server, named instance. Local server, default instance. 2 different things, 2 different approaches. You understand? Yeah. So how many instances are there in my machine? Obviously 3. 2 named, 1 default. Yes. And one more interesting thing. You can work with the database engine only when your database server related service is in running. If database server related service, if it is not running, then you cannot connect. You cannot work. You cannot connect. How would it be? Yeah, it is like this now. See, for example, open configuration tool. Yes. Yeah, configuration tool. Ours is default instance. Yeah, here, default instance. SQL Server, MS SQL Server. That is the default instance name. Simply right click, stop. Or you can do this even from control panel also, services. Services.msc. This is one of the application in control panel, Windows OS. Open that. Even from here, you can do this. S, you can see here, all SQL Server. You can find here, SQL Server, MS SQL Server, which is running. Stop this. Yes. Yeah, I stopped it. Stopped. Once you stop, now come back to Management Studio. Click on connect. It won't connect. Now it is searching. And the main background process, that is server related service, is disabled. It is off. It will give you error now. Error it is. Server was not found. Yes. Server was not found or was not accessible. Yes. So that service is that important. Start that service again. Start. Yeah, start it. Come back. Connect. Instant it will connect if that service is on. If that service is off, you cannot connect. Connect again. Yeah. Now, named instance, server 1, named instance. Currently, this is running. Stop this. Yeah, stop. Now go back. Connect now. Server 1. Connect. Same issue. Server was not found or server was not accessible. Issue. Yes. Because engine is off. Start the engine. Yeah, it is running. Come back. Click on connect. Instant. If it is running, instant it will connect. Default instance. Yes, connects. Now, another interesting thing. Here, I wrote my machine name. Na? You want to check my system name? Yeah, go to command prompt. Host name. You see, Ahmed. Same thing is there here. Server name. And in place of Ahmed, that is server name, you can write event dot. Dot also means same. Connected. You're connected with the default instance. Connected with the default instance. Disconnect again, connect again. This time I call localhost. Click on connect, got connected. Again disconnect. In place of localhost, you can even type local IP address 127.0.0.1. Connected. Disconnect, connect again. You got 4 choices now. 4 choices. What are those 4 choices? Yeah, you either can write my name, or you can keep dot, or you can keep localhost, or you can keep this by 127.0.0.1. And these all will work for local server plus default instance. Yes. Local server default instance. Acha, what about this? Ahmed slash dot slash localhost slash 127.0.0.1 slash instance name. Then first point, no doubt it is local server, but instance name attached. So it is named instance. Named instance. For default instance, you need not write name of the instance. But for named instance, you have to write name of the instance. You have to write what? Name. Name of the instance. Default instance, named instance. Local server, both of them. Yeah. So I can type Ahmed. Bus. Connect. Disconnect again. connect again. Yeah, here. Can you read this picture now? Read the picture. Server type, server name, instance name. Follow this. See this? Database engine, server type. Related to the database engine, one service is there. If this service is running, it will connect. If this service is stopped, you can't connect. Local server, network server. I gave the detailed information there. System name dot instance name. Yeah, sorry, system name dot localhost slash. And even I gave 127.0.0.1 local IP address. In all these cases, you are connecting with what? Default instance. If you have installed SQL Server software for multiple times, then you can work with named instances. And what is authentication? Authentication is about providing credentials. Providing credentials. Which credentials? Either you are going to provide credentials manually, that which are registered in SQL Server, or you're going to connect with Windows OS credentials. Yeah, let me show you what it means. Come back. Here. Here. Authentication. Windows authentication. What is Windows authentication? I mentioned. Connects to server with Windows OS credentials. With Windows OS credentials. That is authentication. And since SQL Server is going to connect with Windows OS credentials, that is the reason it is called trusted connection. Means SQL Server is trusting whom? Windows OS user password. It is trusting Windows user OS password. That is the reason it is called trusted connection. Yes. And if you go to SQL Server authentication, if you go with, for example, here, SQL Server authentication. Yeah, this is SQL Server credentials. This has nothing to do with Windows OS user password. It doesn't need. It is straight away connecting with what? SQL Server. And SA is a default login provided by SQL Server. SA. By default, you'll get that. Every SQL Server software provides you by default one login by a name called SA. That is read as system administration. And password of this particular login, usually we provide during installation of SQL Server software. During the installation of SQL Server, we are going to provide password. And that password, which I gave for my system, is 123 I gave. Got connected. But real time, they won't give you this password. This password will be only with DBA. They will create your login in place of SA. They'll create your login and that user password will be shared with you. So daily you will connect through your user credentials. SA login, SA password will not be shared with you. You don't have access to that log. But this is local server, practice purpose, fine. And you can see here, SQL Server authentication. Connects to server with personal login and password created in SQL Server. Default login provided in this authentication is SA. Default login. Default login is what? SA. Yeah. Any queries that you would like to ask me on this, go ahead. If not, I'll continue with the next part. Both of you, Kiran and Bharat.
No, sir.
Clear, Bharat? Did you understand
No,
what I
sir.
said? Okay. Okay. Kiran, any queries?
No queries, sir.
And one more thing, Kiran. Yesterday, you
Fine,
actually
sir.
this session. So you can just talk to management. They'll share videos with you, Kiran. You can go through that video. Okay. If you have their contact number, just call them, inform them about the videos. They'll share the videos. You can go through the video. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So this is about what? Now, finally, the last point that is needed for SQL Server is about database here. Database. And database, you can see default database of each instance is always master database. You can check here. Go to SQL Server, connect now. 1, 2, 3, connect, open new query, and you can find you're provided with one database here, master, here, master, default database. Default database, which you are provided to work with, is master database. Default database is provided as what? Master database. Default database is what? Master database. Yeah. Okay. Finally, I would like to explain you next part. That is about database. Yes. And now remember, in order to work with database of SQL Server, usually this is what you should be aware of. What? See, let me give you first a small kind of theoretical point on it. Then I'll continue. Yes. Database. Obviously, business database. That is user created database. What other databases you have? Yeah. One we have system databases provided by software in every instance. Sample databases provided by Microsoft for practice purpose. And our database, user created. System databases, I already mentioned them, provided by software. How many are there? Yeah. Master, one database. Model, one database. MSDB, one database. TempDB, one more database. And one more is there, resource, which is actually hidden. Hidden. Hidden database. Master, model, MSDB, TempDB, resource. Resource is what? Hidden database. It is not available. The resource is not available. But available in the sense, it is there, but not visible in our list. You want to see that? Yeah, go for it. Open Management Studio. Connect. Connect. Then, here, databases, system databases, 4 are there. Master, model, MSDB, TempDB. One more is also there, no doubt in it. You are supposed to talk about it. It's not visible, doesn't mean you're supposed to ignore it. No, there is one database by name called. Later we'll see what is their significance. Resource. Because about my experience I'm talking about, usually for developers, they don't ask those things like, but if you're an admin, you are a DBA, database admin, then they will ask you every database significance, every database you can call like importance, every database features, every database the way they are going to make or provide their usage, in terms of implementation and importance of resource database, where it is hidden, then how to identify the database, what is the guarantee of that hidden process. Those all things they'll ask if you are an admin. If you are a DBA, then those questions will arise. For developers, they just may ask you list of system databases. I would say like even this now. If you are experienced, like as a developer, you have an experience, say for example, your experience of 4 or 5 years, then company will expect from you to at least few things to speak about those databases. Few things they will expect from you. If you are new, you are only 1+2, they won't ask you much about these databases. So it matters for experience, where you should have little knowledge of all the databases that are provided by what. Okay. Yeah. And second thing, sample databases which Microsoft has provided for practice purpose. Practice purpose. And you have two things here. In SQL Server 2000, we were provided by two practice databases. One is called by a name called Pubs, and one was called Northwind. And from SQL Server 2005 onwards, 2005 and later releases. Yeah, Microsoft has provided two databases. One they call AdventureWorks, and second they provided AdventureWorks DW. This is for SQL developers for practice purpose, and this is for BI developers practice purpose. Yeah, already I mentioned on the top, provided for practice purpose. Yeah. SQL Server 2005 onwards, they have changed. AdventureWorks DW. AdventureWorks is for SQL developers. AdventureWorks DW is for BI developers. And when you talk about our database, remember, whenever we create database, assume some database I create, something called database name is something called what do you call? I'll call like this, practice DB. Assume I created database. Yeah. Named as what? Practice DB. And you have to remember what? Whenever a database is created in SQL Server, immediate, this database is linked with two physical files. Why I'm using physical file? Because they are in hard disk. Physical files. Those files are in what? Hard disk. Where in hard disk? Obviously, there is one path. I'll show you where it is. This PC, C drive, program files, SQL Server, default instance, MS SQL. Data. Yes. This is the path of those files. Path. Both files are visible here. Both files are available here. What files? What files are available? Yeah, I'll write the file names. Here, one file. It's like this. practicedb.mdf. That is called master data file. And one more file is there in the same location. practicedb underscore log.ldf is called log data file. Log data file, LDF. MDF is master data file. LDF is log data file. Two files are there. Where they are? In the data folder. Two files are in the same folder. Not about one database. Any database you create, this is the story. This is the story. Yeah. MDF, LDF, two files. And you know, what is their capacity? File, capacity. Yeah, the capacity says like, initial size will be 4 MB. 4 MB. Initial size. I better write complete word. Initial size is 4 MB. Increments by 1 MB. Max size is unlimited. But unlimited, I'm not saying it's like infinite amount. No, unlimited is limited. Unlimited is limited. Limited to how much? 16 TB. 16 TB. 16 TB. One file can store data up to 16 TB. Achha, what about log file? Yeah, log file is initial size is 3 MB. Increments 10 based on percentage, 10%. Max size is unlimited, but this unlimited is only 2 TB. And another interesting thing is log file is reusable. LDF is reusable. Master data file is not reusable. Master data file. What if at all, assume you have a data to store in a database which is of 50 TB, 50, but the capacity is only 16 TB. But you have a data to store of 50, 50 TB. If you have that database of that capacity, then you should add. Okay, I won't disturb this. I'll write in the bottom. Yeah, here. You should add. What? Secondary data files. Secondary data files. How do you add? Yeah. Once you add, then you'll have a file. What? practicedb.ndf. That is read as next data file. And story remains same. Same story. Now 16 plus 16, 32. Yeah. Again, you can add one more. practicedb.ndf. Same story. Next data file. Same story. So almost 48 TB now. 48. 48 TB data you can store in 3 data files. Achha, how many you can add like this? How many you can add? You have a limit, 32,767. Secondary data files you can add. And each secondary data file will be provided with a capacity of 16 TB. Now it would be easy for us to calculate the size of database. Yeah, open calculator. 32,7. 1 second. Standard calculator. 32767 NDFs plus 1 MDF. 32768. 1 MDF, 32767 NDF, 32768. Each file is of capacity 16 TB into 16. 5 lakhs 24,288 TB of data you can store in one database. Acha, convert this. Divided by 1024. Now you can find approximate that one database of SQL Server can store data of 512 petabyte. 512 petabyte. It means 1024 TB makes 1 PB. 1024 TB makes 1 PB, 1 petabyte. So you got almost 512 petabyte. That is the size of the database in SQL Server. Yes. You want to check this? Yeah, come back. Here you create. Here, databases. Right click, new database. Database name, practice DB. Okay. Bas, created. Yes. Expand. Practice DB. Go to properties. Now files. And you can see here, 2 files. MDF, LDF, path. The path is the one which I wrote just now. Drive, program file, SQL Server, MS SQL, data folder, and you got those files available. proddb.mdf, sorry, pracdb.mdf, practicedb_log.ldf. And you can see initial size 4 MB, increment, acha, here I said 3, only 2 MB is there, sorry. I'll just update this, 2 MB, not 3 MB, 2 MB. Increment by how much? 10% of the 2 MB. Max size is how much? 2 TB, but it shows unlimited. Why unlimited? Because I don't have hard disk of that capacity. As simple as that to understand. I don't have hard disk of that capacity now. So why will it show me that capacity? So it just says unlimited. So now I conclude with this total picture. I conclude what every database will have at least 2 files. Minimum 2 files. 1 MDF, 1 LDF. 1 MDF, 1 LDF. At least I'm saying minimum 2 files. 1 MDF, 1 LDF. NDFs, the requirement is there, you add. Otherwise, why will you add unnecessary? Secondary data files. MDF is primary data file. LDF is transaction log file, you call. Transaction log file. Primary data file, transaction log file, and secondary data file. There you can see here 2 files are available. Yeah, 2 files. MDF. Can you add a file? Yes, add them. Add. Give a name. Practice db_f1. Okay. Add one more. Second. Practice db_f2. Okay. Yes. Now 2 files are added. Two files. MDF files are added. Okay. Practice DB, go to properties, go to files, and you can see NDF. How many such NDFs you can add? 32,767 NDFs you can add. Yes. Not interested, remove them. Remove, bus, disabled. Because at least 2 files, no? At least 2 files. Yeah. Is this clear for you? Both of you? Did you understand whatever I have demonstrated now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Yeah, this is how you work
Yes,
on
sir.
database. SQL Server data.
Any database is fine for working.
Yeah. Anything is fine. Any database. No restrictions at all. Your wish. You create your
There is
personal
no.
wish of your own name. But the background story when you create a database will remain same. It doesn't matter whether it is you're creating in a whether you're creating a database in 2014 or you're creating a database even in a latest version, or even if you're creating a database in a little older version. In all the situations, in all the cases, background files never change. They are provided with fixed architecture about the files. Logically, only database name will be visible. Physically, in hard disk, you are created by the files that are related with your database. That is the reason what we have discussed in my introduction classes, that logically database is objects, physically database is collection of files. That is how you can define a definition. You can define a database. Logical collection of objects, physical collection of files. When I use a word objects, on the other day, hope you remember, objects deal with tables, views, synonyms, sequences, indexes, that indices, constraints, procedures, functions, triggers. They all are part of objects. And why are we using the word like physical files? Could be only one reason, because the files are stored in hard disk. That is what you call physical memory. Because files are stored in physical memory, for that reason, they are called physical files. How many files you have found with a creation? Like 32,768 files we are created with. In that one MDF, and NDFs are 32,767. Right? You don't want this database? Delete this. Delete. Close. Okay. Gone. Database is gone. And one more thing also I'll show. One more thing. What it is, and what you learn is, another point what we study is, yesterday, when I've come up with introduction of SQL, let me show you. Yesterday, introduction to SQL, structured query language. Here I said yesterday, we are going to start with DQL, that is called data query language. And we are going to study about select command. We are going to study about what? Select command. So let's begin with that. Already I started with this topic even in our regular batch at 12 p.m. Just will show you the same notes so that we are going to follow the same thing even for our batches online. 12 p.m. DQL, 12 p.m. Yes. Data query language. From here, total will be our practicals. Yes. How many ways you can retrieve data from database? I give 3 choices here. Can you see here? Three choices. One is called selection. One way, selection. Second is called projection. Third is called joins. I gave a brief overview there. Selection is about retrieving data of all columns. That is selection. Projection, retrieving data of required columns. That is projection. Retrieving all columns is selection. Retrieving required columns is projection. All columns is selection. Required columns is projection. And joins में two techniques are there. Two techniques. Row joins, column joins. Row joins is retrieving data from based on two or more queries. This is based on two or more tables. Row joins, column joins. And we work with which command? Select command. And this is the syntax. Syntax. Select command, syntax it is. And what is there in the syntax here? Select command is provided with these all things you can write. These all things. And these all things which you write is what you call expression list area. That includes star, selection operator, columns list is called projection, aliases, mathx. These all things to be discussed, not yet covered even in our regular batch. Yeah. And how many clauses are there? From, where, group by, having, order by, for XML. What are all these? Clauses. Clauses. What do you mean by a clause? Continuation of a statement. Continuation of a statement. Statement. Continuation of a statement. Yeah. How many clauses are there? 6 clauses. What are they? From, where, group by, having, order by, for XML. These are the things that we are going to study individually. Where clause is one topic, group by clause is one topic, having clause is one topic, order by clause is one topic, for XML is also one topic. Each clause one topic. Yeah. Just listed. I didn't explain anything even in a regular batch as well. I didn't explain. Then I said here, what you are supposed to remember a few points. In that I said, one select command will allow to retrieve 4096 columns of 255 tables. 4000. One single select command will support to retrieve 4096 columns of how many? 255 tables. And there is something I wrote as selection, projection, nothing to worry. Everything I'll discuss. Only I listed them. Only I listed those points. Because I didn't start practical yet. Only theoretical points I listed. So whenever I start my practical, definitely you all will experience on the day how each point is important for our practicals. How each point will play its important role when it comes to querying your database. You understand? Every clause is important. Every clause. But the point is, we cannot write directly a query in the introduction classes that deals with all clauses. Something which is next to impossible. Once you're familiar, once you're comfortable in understanding all the clauses thoroughly, then makes sense. Then makes sense of writing a query with all clauses. Now, something very interesting. Listen carefully, please. Now, you all will actually a point comes here. Listen carefully. We already decided that first we want to learn DQL. We already decided, right? And one more thing. This is for your knowledge, I'm saying. From one person to another person, this training of SQL changes. This is my pattern of teaching. My pattern. First, I take up DQL. Then I take up DML, then TCL, then DDL, then DCL. This is my pattern. In some trainers, some people, what they do, first they'll explain DDL. Then they explain DML. Then they explain TCL. Then they explain DQL. Now this is not my experience. I'm talking my point. My point. I don't feel this is the best way to learn subject. No, this will not help you. Why other teach in that way, I don't know. But this is not the best way to learn subject is to go in this way. In this way, it will be best and easy so that all logical things we cover in advance. So by that is the reason I said you only DQL. You remember on that day I said this point I said you very clearly. Only DQL will take around 4 weeks, I said. Hope you remember my points. 4 weeks only, 3.5, 4 weeks, only DQL we study. 4 weeks, you understand, almost a month. A month, we are going to talk only about DQL. Then we are going to study DQL. We study how many? 4 weeks. And remaining are there, na? Here, the remaining languages. DML, TCL, DDL, they all will be covered. Hardly 10 days are enough for us to discuss them. They're that simple. It only matters with syntax. They're not logical. Logical stuff is all in select query. That is the reason even in interviews, most of the questions are asked from DQL. And remaining languages, whatever I listed, only they focus on syntax. You're good in syntax, you're just like you can manage. How many? 10 days mein? What is that you require? Four things you need. 4 things. So based on this, now what we conclude that already now we decided that we want to go first with DQL, and that DQL we already discussed. Just we have come up with its syntax. Even we have come up with its introduction. We have come up with its syntax also, and important points. Everything is there now. But something very interesting is, in order to learn DQL, in order to work with DQL, in order to learn querying process using select command, remember, we should have some tables with us. We should have some tables with us. Right? So we require what now? Tables we need. Without tables, how will you query data? General point. Without tables, how do you query? How do you query data? So for that reason, what I did is, I'll show you what I did. Let us open Management Studio. Management Studio. Connect to server. I create the same database. Actually, I deleted it, but I'll recreate that. New database, name as PracticeDB. Done. Database is created here. Refresh PracticeDB. Select the database, click on new query. So your database query editor is open. Remember, the one which I'm writing now is a standard query to get list of tables. Select a name from sys.tables. I'm asking you to remember this query as a standard query to display list of tables. Execute. You don't have any tables. You don't have any tables. Now, when you don't have tables, how will you learn DQL? How will you follow that syntax of DQL? How will you learn that joins? How you learn functions? How you write subqueries? For that reason, what I did is I have placed some tables for practice purpose here. Practice tables. We are not understanding them now. No. Just simply Control A, Control C, copy, go back, Control V, paste, execute. After that, select all, delete. Same query you write. Select name from sys.tables. Execute. Yes. 3 tables. On these 3 tables, we are going to learn total DQL. Total DQL. 3 tables. On these 3 tables, we are going to practice our data query language. What are the 3 tables? EMP, department, salary. How did you get them? By writing this query. Yes, I'll share that file with you people also. So that whenever you are installed with SQL Server software, when you create your database in that software, when I share this file, same thing you do what I did now. Copy paste those things of that file into your database query editor, execute it, then you find all the 3 tables are ready for you. Do you understand what I said? Everyone, is this clear for you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. And not the only query to get list of tables. There are n number of ways to get the list of tables. Okay, let me show you another one. Select name from sys.sys objects where x type equal to u. U indicates user tables. U indicates user tables. How many? Same 3. EMP, department, salary. Exactly the same thing I mentioned. Do you notice here? Here. Yeah. You're working with which database? Practice DB. If you want to change to database, you can use a command here. If you want to change your database, use database, DevDB, developer database. Select that line, click on execute, or you can press F5. Yes. Now you are in DevDB. Yes. Yeah. Which tool you are using now? Which tool you are using? Management Studio. How do you know? Yeah, you write a query and no. You write a query. Name. Function. This is called function. App name is called function. This is followed by parenthesis. Any word which is being followed by parenthesis is like function. App name. It returns Management Studio. Yeah, you're working with Management Studio. Okay. Yeah. You're working with which database? Which database? Yeah, you want to change to your database? Right. PracDB, practical database. Chalo. Now you're working with which database? You can write a query for that. Select DB name, execute. Database name, practice DB. You are working with practice DB. Acha, which server you're working with? Yeah, you can check. Select @ server name. Yeah, this will return your name of the server. Yeah, Ahmed. Which instance? Default. @ service name. Yeah, check. Default instance. You check all 4, you check. Yeah. Yes. Management Studio. You're working with Practice DB. Server name is Ahmed. Instance name is MS SQL Server. What is this called? In SQL Server. Whenever you find a word, can you see here? Global variable. Can you see? Global variable, or you call that even as scalar variable. Any variable which is preceded by 2 symbols, you read as what? Scalar variable. Global variable also you can call scalar variable also. Why scalar variable? Because it is going to store only one value. Scalar, single. Scalar, single. Vector, multiple. So I'm talking about scalar. Scalar is single. At the rate server name returns you with only name of the server. Single value, scalar variable. Server name, service name. Server name is what? At the rate server name. Service name is what? At the rate service name. What is your session ID? 54. How would you know? You write a query for that. Select at the rate SPID. That is called server or session process ID. Yes. Yes, 54. At the rate SPID. Returns you what? Session process ID. How much is the value? 54. What are all these three? They are called scalar variables, global variables, scalar variables. Okay. Sys.table. This is a query, standard query. I asked you to just remember coming classes where a lot of things are there to study on this particular point. Right? At that topic, I'll explain. Till then, just remember. Regular practice, things get memorized. That's his standard query. I very clearly said you. And at this stage, we cannot understand about them in detail. Till then, just see that whenever you want to get list of tables, write this query. Or the second query, sys.sys_table or sys.sys_objects. Anything that will give you list of tables. Okay? Yeah. Here, which version we are using? Here I give. Select at the rate version. That will give you SQL Server version. Execute. Yes. 2014. Version. Which version I'm using? Best. Exactly, we are at the point here. To display list of user created tables, practice tables, demonstration tables, sample tables, table name, EMP department salary. Exactly, we are here. Everything will be there in the notes, nothing to worry, nothing you get miss of it. Video will be there to get support for your revising.